When Ethan got down on one knee, the entire restaurant gasped. The lights shimmered, violins played softly, and I stood frozen by the window, watching him propose to another woman. But what no one knew was that the diamond ring he held had once been mine. I recognized the scratch on the band, the mark I'd noticed when he'd promised forever to me. That night, as she said yes, I smiled not from pain, but from power, because Ethan had no idea what I'd done before he walked into that restaurant. The night air carried the faint scent of roses and champagne, the kind of evening meant for new beginnings, not old ghosts. I wasn't supposed to be there, not at that restaurant, not on that night, but life has a wicked sense of timing. When my best friend Lena insisted we go out to celebrate new chapters, I didn't argue. After all, my divorce papers had been finalized that morning. 3 years of marriage reduced to a stack of signatures and a hollow goodbye. Ethan had moved on long before the ink dried with his new colleague, the one who'd started as his assistant and ended up as his confidant. So when we walked into La Vera, the city's most romantic restaurant, I wasn't expecting to see him, least of all, on one knee. The sound of silverware clinking fell away. As I caught sight of him across the room, the soft golden lights glowed over his neatly styled hair, his tailored suit, and that familiar confident smile. The woman sitting before him looked exactly like the kind of person Ethan would fall for, polished, perfect, unaware. Then I saw it. The ring. My breath caught in my throat as the diamond sparkled under the chandelier, a delicate teardrop stone with a faint scratch on the side of the band. I remembered that scratch. It had appeared the week before our wedding when Ethan accidentally dropped the ring on the marble counter. I had laughed then, told him it was a sign of real love, imperfect but strong. Now, watching him slide that same ring onto someone else's hand, I felt 1,000 things at once: shock, betrayal, disbelief, and somewhere beneath it all, something colder, satisfaction because the ring he was holding didn't belong to him anymore. 3 weeks ago, when I'd gone to collect the last of my things from our old house, I'd found it in his drawer, the same little velvet box, sitting next to a pile of receipts and cufflinks. I hadn't planned on taking it, but I did. Something inside me whispered that it wasn't over yet, so I took it, quietly replaced it with an identical replica, a cheaper, nearly perfect copy I'd ordered online. Same cut, same shine, only I knew the real diamond was safe in my pocket that day, and what he held now was a symbol of his own carelessness. As I stood there, hidden behind a column, I watched her say yes. The crowd around them clapped. A waiter popped a bottle of champagne, and Ethan looked proud. Lena touched my arm gently. "Maya, are you okay?" she whispered, her voice trembling. I turned to her, smiling faintly. "I'm perfect," I said, and I meant it, because for the first time in years, the power wasn't his anymore. The waiter approached their table with a cake that read "Forever starts now." I almost laughed. Forever had already ended once, and he was about to start the next one on borrowed lies and a borrowed ring, when he kissed her hand. I stepped outside, the cold night air hitting my skin like a wake-up call. My heart wasn't broken, it was burning, steady, and alive. I walked a few blocks before pulling out my phone. The message I'd drafted a week ago waited in my drafts folder, unsent, unfinished. It read, "Ethan, before you make any more promises, you should probably check what's real and what isn't." I hit send. Then I opened my small jewelry box at home and placed the real diamond ring back inside. It glittered under the lamp like a secret. Because what Ethan didn't know yet was that the ring wasn't the only thing I'd taken before I left. The morning after his proposal went viral. Yes, viral. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Everyone was sharing the clip on social media. CEO Ethan Cole proposes to marketing executive Julia Hayes in the most romantic way possible. The captions read, "A beautiful love story," they said. I watched the video once, twice, 3 times. His smile looked genuine. Hers was innocent. But what caught my attention wasn't the people, it was the ring. Under the camera flash, the stone didn't sparkle, it flickered, just slightly off, the way cheap glass catches the light. I almost laughed out loud because Ethan, in all his arrogance, had proposed with a fake dot by noon. I received an unexpected call from Julia. Her voice trembled. "Hi, is this Maya?" Maya Cole. The sound of her name on Julia's lips sent a cold shiver through me. "Yes, who's this?" "This is Julia, Ethan's fiancée," she said hesitantly. I know this is awkward, but I think there's been a mistake." I didn't say a word. She continued, her voice cracking. "The ring Ethan gave me, The diamond fell out this morning. The jeweler said it's a replica. They even showed me where it was bought online. A cheap imitation. I don't understand. I let her words hang in the air for a long moment before responding, calm and measured. That's strange, I said softly. I thought he knew the difference between real and fake by now. There was silence and then a quiet sob. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I didn't know he was married. He said you left him. Of course he did. Ethan never faced consequences, only excuses, but this time, karma had a front row seat. That evening, my lawyer called. Funny thing, she said, Ethan's company's legal team reached out today. Apparently, some documents went missing, ones that tie him to a few creative accounting choices. I smiled. Ah, the folder marked vacation plans. Yes, I remember those. She chuckled. You're quite the strategist, Maya. I wasn't proud of what I'd done, but after years of watching him manipulate everything, my trust, my career, even my sense of worth, I decided to protect myself. I'd copied those files the day I realized he was cheating. They weren't for revenge. They were for survival. Still, now they had a poetic purpose. 2 weeks later, Julia called again. Her voice was colder this time. You were right, she said. He's not who I thought he was. The engagement's off. I'm sorry, I replied, and strangely, I meant it. Julia wasn't the enemy. She was the next chapter in his lies. But she surprised me by adding, I gave the ring back to him. You should know. He's trying to sell it. I laughed softly. He might want to check its value first. Because that fake diamond was about to become the most expensive lesson of his life. A month later, the story broke online. Local CEO under investigation for fraud and forgery. Ethan's photo sat beside the headline. His confident smirk, replaced by panic. The comments flooded in former employees, old partners, people who'd once trusted him. His empire crumbled in real time. And me. I watched quietly from my balcony, coffee in hand, the real diamond ring gleaming beside me like a trophy. Not because it represented revenge, but because it reminded me of what I'd reclaimed. My peace, my power, my name. When Lena came over that evening, she grinned. So, you really outsmarted him, huh? I shrugged. Not really. I just stopped letting him win. She laughed. So what will you do with the real ring? I picked it up, watching it catch the sunset. Maybe I'll sell it, I said thoughtfully. Or maybe I'll keep it, as a reminder that not everything that shines is worth keeping. Lena smiled. You sound like a woman who finally found closure. I nodded slowly. No. I found myself. Weeks passed, and Ethan tried to contact me. Calls, texts, even an email begging to explain. I didn't block him, I just didn't respond. Silence can be louder than anger. And mine echoed louder than his apologies ever could. Eventually, I received a small package at my doorstep. Inside was the fake ring, wrapped in tissue paper. No note, just the ring. I slipped it onto my finger for one brief moment and then placed it in the same box where the real one used to be. A perfect ending to a broken circle. Because in the end, he didn't just lose me, he lost the illusion that he could replace me. And as I stood there, closing that velvet box for the last time, I whispered to myself, some promises break, but karma never does. He thought he could rewrite our story, but he forgot who wrote the first chapter. Sometimes, revenge doesn't come with shouting or chaos, it comes quietly, wrapped in grace and truth. When he proposed to another woman with my ring, he never imagined how deeply karma cuts when it's poetic. If you've ever been betrayed, remember this, you don't need to destroy them to win. Just stand tall, stay silent, and let life reveal the truth. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories where strength always finds its way back.